Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day you're watching this. Excuse me. Gotta clear my throat. Got a froggy in my throat. Good morning, it's Joey's World, Lisa. So nice to have you here. I just got done watching the replay of Dean's show over at the Live Place. Real quick, the Live Place, where they have over 90 live streams a week, regular scheduled live streams, and several impromptu live streams. It is a listing site of family-friendly live streamers, covering all topics, covering the globe. So go check out theliveplace.com. You will find live streamers that are talking about things you're interested in. Everything from theme parks to travel to cooking, lifestyle, RVing, Disney, autism, well-being. Do check out theliveplace.com, and thank you, Dean, for listing 2 of my live streams. And this morning he even highlighted this one, which isn't listed on the Live Place, but he highlighted it. Good morning, Carol Carkey. I'm feeling a little better. What's happened? Let me go ahead and explain real quick. I have fibromyalgia and I have arthritis throughout most of my body. And the arthritis is okay. It's bearable for me to handle. And the fibromyalgia is bearable for me to handle. But when the fibromyalgia and the arthritis both attack me at once, there isn't a whole lot I can do. I don't do pain medication or things like that because it counteracts with my body. And being a full-time sole caregiver, I can't be drowsy or impaired. Another reason why I don't drink or do therapeutic or otherwise drugs, things like that, except caffeine. And but anyway, I'm able to sit up a little longer today. The main thing is just sitting up in the chair sometimes, and also it affects my cognitive abilities in that it makes me foggy, and I will forget what I'm talking about mid-sentence and just can't organize my thoughts. So, but I'm here. Excuse me, I got a froggy in my throat. I haven't been talking much the past couple days. Business, taking care of business. Let's get this out of the way. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much for catching the replay. I know there are so many live streamers going live throughout the day, and people are getting back to work, so it's harder and harder to get to all the live streams you want to. I have no problem with replay watchers. I love my replay watchers. Leave me a comment down below, says Replay Squad, and keep in touch with me. And if you can't make it to the lives, that's fine. Obviously, more people in a live chat can make it much more interesting and active, but I want to help as many people as I can, and that means replay watchers too. Thanks for being here. If you're in my live stream, Carol and Lisa, thank you so much. Next week, I have a pinned message. Next week, our topic is top 10 myths about autism. I want to hear your myths too. So send them to me at pearlmanhattanmusic@gmail.com. The email address is up there. It's also on my channel. Send me your autism myth. The crazier, the better. It's going to be a fun show, a lot of fun. I might even make a PowerPoint for it. Won't that be great? Let me silence this digital leash here, my telephone. That's one thing. Yeah, welcome Replay Squad. I'm trying to get this set so the chat can replay for the replay watchers. But yeah, my digital leash. I'm trying to get out of the habit of having it in my hand at all times, because early in my son's life, I had to have it because the school would call. I had to be ready at a moment's notice to drop everything and deal with whatever, my son needed. So I'm trying to get out of the habit of carrying that in my hand. Anyway, today I want to talk about two things. We're going to talk about caregiver care, taking care of the caregiver. And we're going to talk about an app that I just found. I don't know much about it, but if you haven't heard of social stories, we'll talk about what social stories are. And this app that I found, it's made over in the UK about social stories. So, and I hope everybody has something to contribute for that. And again, you can reach me anytime through my Gmail address that's pinned up there. If you have suggestions for topics, if you just want to vent and unload, I'm here to listen. I may not be able to do anything for you besides provide a shoulder and some comforting words. But I'm here. Been doing this for 15 years by myself. Board maker. That's another social story app. This one is called SOFA, Stories Online for Autism, and it's right now I've only found mobile versions of it. But Boardmaker, yes, I have heard of Boardmaker. In fact, they use that. They've used that in the past in my son's schools. So let's talk about caregiver care. How are we taking care of ourselves? And a caregiver isn't just the parent or the sibling who takes care of, you teachers, the special education teachers and paraeducators. They're caregivers. And I'm finding that generally people who get into a caregiver role, I have caregivers that are hired through an agency. I'm blessed that all of them have children who are autistic or on the spectrum, and so they have a special insight when they come. But anybody who provides care for someone on the autism spectrum, it's even though autism itself isn't a disease or it is a disability, but it's not a disease, so we tend to not think of it along the same lines as we do a caregiver for someone with a physical disability. And so we think, we're just supposed to, the super caregiver, and we don't take care of ourselves. And the thing I have learned the hard way is the self-care is just as important as caring for your client, your child, your sibling, your charge, whatever relation they may be to you. And so these are the things I've learned just by myself, because I've been isolated caring for my son. In the town that I live in, there aren't a lot of resources. Also because of our financial standing, we are on the lower end of the economic spectrum, if you want to call it. So we've had to take what we could scrounge, basically. And so the first thing is I had to simplify my life. I had to be okay with dirty dishes sitting in the sink. Leave the dishes sitting in the sink, and I will, there's more to this, but it's okay if the laundry sits in the dryer and maybe doesn't get folded. I am a neat freak, and I've talked about this before. I have CPTSD. I have anxiety and depression, and one of my coping skills is manic cleaning. I am a neat freak and a clean freak. So I felt in the beginning that everything had to be spotless in the house, plus taking care of my son full time. And I was not sleeping. I was not taking time to prepare food for myself, because those of you who understand, who have experience with those with autism, they have their own diet. They have their own ways they like things. And a lot of times, I am vegan, but my son lives off a different diet. So I have to make 2 sets of meals. And I was not taking the time to make my own meals and eat and be healthy. The first thing I did figure out was what you figure out when you have an infant, a small child. You sleep when they sleep. And I'm blessed. I'm very, very blessed. My son has always been the type who liked to go to bed between 8 and 9 o'clock, and he would go to bed and go to sleep, and he would sleep until 5 or 6 in the morning. I've been blessed that way. There have been rare times he's woke up in the middle of the night, but those are the odd times. Most of the time he will put him, even, today he's 15, he's very independent. He'll put himself to bed, and then he'll get himself up, and I started letting him pick out the foods that he wanted. We go shopping together, either online, we do Instacart and have it delivered, or we will go to the stores, and I let him pick out the foods that he's going to eat. And I'm blessed there too. I'm very lucky because he makes good choices for food. He likes a lot of fruit. He doesn't do a lot of sweets or chocolate. Joey's the same way. And I don't make a judgment about that. I know there are children who have sleeping issues. And for a while it was difficult because I wouldn't wake up with him. And one morning I woke up to find a light dusting of the remnants of a 10-pound bag of pancake mix all over the house. I was covered. The bed was covered. My room was covered. His room was covered. The hallway, the kitchen, the living room, everything. It's like he walked around flinging pancake batter, pancake mix all over the house. And so I learned that I have to get up with him. So in order to wake up with him, I have to go to bed with him. So our day ends about 8:30, 9 o'clock. We are in bed, and I make myself go to sleep, turn off the TV, put the cell phone away. My son's in the next room. There's nobody more important than my son, and my son is not going to need my help for the next 6 hours. Everybody else just needs to go away. And we go to bed. The second thing, and this goes back to, I was procrastinating on taking care of myself because I felt like I had to do all these other things. This book, and like I said, we're going to do a whole month about this book in March. So if you haven't gotten it, it's on Amazon. I believe there's an audio version of it on your audiobook sites. Hashtag not a sponsor. Go check it out. Get it. It's not that big. It's 202 pages, and a lot of those are graphics and kind of worksheets, a lot of anecdotes, a lot of stories about how he has helped patients. It's by Neil Fiore, PhD. But we're going to talk about that book. But I learned I was procrastinating on taking care of myself because I felt like I had all of these expectations upon me. And instead of saying, oh, I have to do the dishes, I say, okay, at 3 o'clock, I will load the dishwasher. What do I need to do right now? I need to fix myself some breakfast. I need to, fix myself some lunch. I need to order some groceries. I need to go online and just window shop. That's, Mama Mouse from Myers and the Mouse was doing shopping cart with the mouse on Monday mornings, and I used to really enjoy when they did that. I hope she'll bring it back once they get settled, because just window shopping Um, Window shopping online, reading a book, watching a TV show, um, taking a shower. That we made the self pedicure kits in during Vlogmas, and I've been doing that. You know, clean out your closet. Buy yourself a new shirt. Little things. It's the little things are self care. And, they don't have to be these grandiose, expensive gestures. Find little things. The other day, I made some rice for my lunch, and I was like, I want some flavor on this, but I don't have anything, right now, any ready sauces or anything. So I sat down and made myself a lemon garlic sauce. It took like 3 ingredients, maybe 4, and it took me 15 minutes. Well, my son's pizzas take 15 minutes to cook. Well, 20, but anyway. So I put his pizza in the oven, and then I whipped up this lemon sauce real quick while I was waiting for the pizza to cook. So we hear a lot of things about, humans can't multitask. Multitasking is bad. Well, that's when you're trying to do 2 things that require your attention at once, that it's bad. But stacking things, if you have downtime, wait time, I've started doing my housework in 10-minute bursts. And I start in the morning and I say, okay, 5 things that have to be done today. That corner is bugging me. I'm going to take 10 minutes at 10 o'clock. And it became easier and easier to schedule my 10-minute times in, because my son, with the autism, he is very schedule. He likes routine. He likes his schedule. And if you tell him we're doing XYZ at 10 o'clock, he's going to remind you about that. And at 10 o'clock, we are going to do it. Whatever it is, whether it's going to the dentist or ordering groceries or whatever. So having him be so regimented in scheduling made it easier for me to schedule. And that's, schedule in your self-care time. I had a video appointment with my doctor. Oh, I understand. Blessings and peace to your grandfather, and to all he loves, and to all who love him. I know that's hard. Our prayers are with you guys very, very much. I have been to Tampa a couple times. I love Tampa. It's a beautiful little city. My first trip to Disney World, we stayed in Tampa I stayed with a family in Tampa for a month before we went, and I love Tampa. Beautiful little city. And of course I'm partial to the Gulf of Mexico anyway, because I grew up on it. So peace and blessings to you guys. Yeah, that's tough. Prayers for you. Loss is especially hard, I think, on those on the spectrum, because they really don't understand it. I know my son has abandonment issues because his father passed when he was so young. And he doesn't really remember his father, but he knows that he was there and then he was gone, and he doesn't understand where he went or anything else. And that's why he won't let me out of his sight. So I know that's tough. Lots of love to you guys. So another thing I've done to make sure I get my self-care time in is foster independence. My counselor calls it scaffolding. As a parent, I tend to spoil my son rotten, and I tend to enable him because I want to do everything for him. I want to, I want to take care of him and do everything for him. But there comes a time where you have to start stepping back to prepare them for being on their own. I have come against criticisms, but I've also come against support, or come into support from my decision that when my son is of legal adult age, I am going to put him in a group home setting or some sort of environment where he is as independent as he can possibly be. And there are a few reasons for that. The main reason being, I turned 55 in 2 weeks. When he is 18, I will be 60. 62, actually. No, 58. Yes, I will be 58 when he turns 18. I'm not getting younger. And I've devoted my entire life to raising children, and I need to retire, put it that way. I love my son, and I want to do everything in the world for him, but if he is going to be a contributing member to society, he needs to learn how to be grown up. We had an interesting conversation the other day. He has made his own peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. He makes his own popcorn. When we go shopping and I get all of his food that he likes, I make sure he knows where it is in the kitchen so he can go and get himself what he wants to eat, with the exception of cooking pizzas. Now he has experimented with the toaster oven, and he has cooked himself, his Texas toast. He loves Texas toast, the garlic parmesan. Yeah. And he can make his own popcorn, and he can do little things like that. And he came in and said, I want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, please. And I looked at him, I said, make it yourself. Oh, he did not like that. And he got frustrated with me because I would not get up and make him a peanut butter jelly sandwich right then, because that's what he wanted. And eventually I did get up and make the sandwich for him, but as I was making it, I told him, you know how to do this. You can do this yourself, And so stepping away and giving him his space. He is a very average 15-year-old, as he likes to hide in his room and play on his electronics, or he's playing video games in the kitchen. And that leads me to another thing. A lot of parents and parenting experts say, that children are getting too much screen time and things like that. With my son, that's what he enjoys to do. He doesn't get into sports. He doesn't understand sports. There's not many groups he can be a part of because he lacks the social abilities. So he has an iPad that is in his hand all the time. Does not use it for speech. He does not use it for therapeutic reasons. He uses it because that's what he does. I don't recommend this for all children. All children are different. Even children on the spectrum are different. My son's autism is not your son's autism. One of the myths we're going to cover, and I'm not dissing Jenny McCarthy at all, but if you remember a bunch of years ago, Jenny McCarthy wrote a book of how she cured her son of autism by changing him to a gluten-free, casein-free diet. I hate to tell you this, Jenny, but your son didn't have autism. Your son had food allergies. There's a difference. And that's an issue with diagnosing autism, is all they're doing is saying your child displays these behaviors and these, delays. But autism isn't a cause. Autism is an umbrella of a collection of behaviors and stuff. So, and it's true, if you eliminate the foods that that cause these allergic reactions, like with me, I'm on a vegan diet because I'm allergic to milk, I'm allergic to eggs, I'm allergic to gluten. They were causing me all sorts of physical and mental issues. And so I cleaned up my diet and a lot of my issues resolved. So, but that's a rant for a different day. But self-care is so important. Microwaves. And I think giving your child more and more independence. Yes, making the best choices. And what I've done is given my son more choices. And it started out with giving him, I would provide, okay, we have X or, celiac disease. And that was, a lot of her symptoms were probably caused by the celiac disease. I think it's, we get our school lunches. We still pick up school lunches from the school bus. Our schools are starting to get back into session. Next week, my son goes to 4 days a week in school instead of 2. So I'm happy about that. They're starting to realize that the school is probably the safest place right now because of all the guidelines and social distancing. It's controlled. It's a controlled environment, whereas kids are going to family reunions, they're going to the mall, they're going to church, they're going here, they're going there. The school is not the place where you're going to catch it, because they finally got the message to sanitize and clean the school. They're hiring more than just one janitor to sweep the floor once a day and call it good, Also, wearing the masks. We have a rule here. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We have a rule here, and it's a rule. It is just the way it is. Mask on, shoes on. If your shoes are on your feet, your mask is on your face. It's just the way it is. I've heard that some people who are having trouble with these masks, that the children enjoy the facial shields better, and facial shields are acceptable in a lot of places. All right, Carol, so good to see you. I hope you have a blessed rest of the day. I'm sure I'll see you around tonight on RTV1. They're going to be doing another epic, wonderful streams. That's another part of self-care I adore. I watch these Disney streams. That's part of my self-care. Even though I will be taking a trip to Disney sometime in the next few years, I know there are a lot of rides because of my health or because of my son that we're not going to be able to ride. So I can ride Space Mountain. I can ride the Runaway Mine Train anytime I want by watching these live streams and living my life vicariously through other people. So watching a live stream, even if you're a mod, which Lisa, I know you're a mod for a lot of these live streams, find the self-care in that. Find the escape and relax, because like Corey Meets World, Resort TV 1, I haven't watched It's Pat, but I hear that he does an excellent live stream from the parks. But watching these live streams from the parks that are chill and relaxing, that can be very helpful. Another thing I watch Wild Earth on YouTube twice a day. It's a live African safari from various locations all over Africa. They have people from the Kalahari. They have people from Juma and Sabi Sands Game Reserve, and it's very relaxing and peaceful. And they are also they're on Twitch, they're on Facebook, they're on YouTube. You can watch it anywhere. That's and it comes on, for me, it comes on early morning and 7:30 in the evening. So wow. Oh, that was Streamlabs. Okay, the chat on the screen is coming up before my chat here. That's interesting. Because I have to have the YouTube chat open here too. The other thing I wanted to talk about today is this SOFA, Stories Online for Autism. And for us, social stories have been hit or miss. If it's something he's interested in, it's okay, but then there's some social stories where he's like, that's not something I'm gonna do. End of story. My son's reading level is very high, but his comprehension level is very low. He can read any word in the English language. He can read nonsense words. His phonics are impeccable, but his comprehension, understanding what he reads, is not on a high level. So, but I found this. I actually just found it, so I don't know a whole lot about it. It's called SOFA. Here is the link if you want to follow along. Stories Online for Autism. And I'm just going to read the webpage here to you. The aim behind SOFA app is to help people on the autism spectrum to understand what is socially acceptable behavior and what is not through the use of stories that give examples of appropriate behavior. Also helping children with autism prepare for events and situations that are not the normal routine. The app itself helps you create social stories that can be used by children and individuals with autism. And Ready, Set, Autism, when you mentioned what your family's going through, this is the first thing I thought about, because there's a template in there for when a classmate is leaving, and perhaps some social stories, not trying to tell you, how to raise your kid, but maybe a social story could be helpful in this time in talking to your child. I know I also thought about, what we're going through here in the United States with our political climate and everything else. And if my son, if my son were having issues with that, I think I would make some social stories, and they would probably be more based on the circle. If you've watched me before, I preach the circle of control, and what you can control versus what is beyond your control. And that goes into fostering the independence, letting my son know what parts of his environment he controls. That also was a big step to independence. Social stories are descriptions of a particular event, situation, or activity. They provide information on what you should expect. And the steps to do something. Like, we've had a social story. My son chooses not to use the toilet. He chooses to wear diapers. But he will shower and clean himself up. He is totally responsible for changing his diapers, things like that. And we've had social stories in the bathroom on how to use the bathroom until I realized he knows how to. He's just choosing not to. So that's an instance where social story did help for a while. Right now, it's only available from the Apple Store or the Play Store. So Apple things or Google Play for Android. It was initially developed by a research team within the Center of Applied Autism Research at the University of Bath in UK, in collaboration with a number of local schools for autistic children and families from the community. Oh, yes, yes. But still, and again, not telling you how to raise your kid, but even, how do I'm just going to say this, please don't be offended, but even a great grandfather, even if you might think they don't know, uh, they're hearing everything that's said around them, and they understand everything that's said around, at least in my experience. So maybe explaining why mommy and daddy are a little sad right now, or why they might be feeling a little tension in the air, things like that. Because I know my son picks up on my emotions like you wouldn't believe. My son's very empathic. So, and a lot of times we think, oh, they're just kids. You know, even neurotypical kids will think, oh, they're just kids. They don't understand. Trust me, they do. My son understands everything that's going on about COVID. So, you know, just if it's just to explain why mommy's so sad right now, or why grandma's so sad right now, or things like that. I've learned that by involving my son, even when I think he's not going to be interested, and give him the choice to be involved in it or remove himself from it, but provide that opportunity for communication. Anyway, so I don't know how well this is going to work because I haven't figured out how to share my phone screen to this. I'm still working on it, you know, professional streamer here. But let's see where that app ended up. And now the registration for signing up for it is a little lengthy. And when you first call it up, after you log in, after you open it up, it will ask you select a login. I've gone ahead and I put in my son's account. I made an account for my son, child mode, and then this is the adult mode, and I'll show you this. And I'm gonna go ahead and put in my username. Give me a second. From Manhattan. And my password. I don't know about y'all. My son can crack a password on a cell phone. I have to tell the caregivers that come by, hide your phone. It doesn't matter what kind of password you put on there. Oh, it's not logging me in. Okay. Anyway, they have a few social stories already in there that you can customize with your child's name. Let's see if it has some more information about. Here's a little video, and I'm gonna mute it because I don't want to. Let's see if they've got any. Whoop. Here. There. So here's an example of one of the social stories about getting a haircut. And this is how it's going to come out. Just making social stories. Anyway, it's called Sofa, but I also know that oops, I'm gonna go ahead and switch back to this. There are other social story. Nope, that wasn't the one. That's the one. There we go. There are other social story programs out there. I've always had them made for me by my son's teacher. I've been lucky that I've always had a good rapport with my IEP team, and I call them my IEP team because I always set the precedent that I walked in to my meetings with confidence and with an understanding of my son's needs. And although I usually didn't challenge anything that they came up with in the IEP because I agreed with it, I let them know up front that I wasn't going to let them lead the show. There's one person in charge of the meeting, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the person is, knowledgeable and everything else. You are your child's best resource, your charge's best resource. There's nobody in the world knows as much about your person on the spectrum than you, because you're the one in the ditch fighting the battle. And so, but social stories can be very, very helpful. Also, with my son, I have a calendar. Every year he gets a calendar for Christmas, and we put it up on the wall, and we write things on that calendar. And he uses the calendar more than he uses social stories. So to wrap all this up, sum all this up, my advice: make a schedule for yourself along with making a schedule for your child. And one more thing with the caregiving. I do have caregivers who come in because we are linked with our local Department of Health and DSHS in their DDA program, developmentally delayed program. So we get caregivers through an agency from the state, and on the care plan, we sit down and review a care plan with the agency once a year, and it's listed on the care plan what the caregivers will do. And one of the things is light housework. And that's where, my independent streak, no, I don't need anybody to do this for me. Learning to let the caregivers, and I bless my caregivers who have basically told me, please go in your room. I got this. I'm going to do this. Or a couple weeks ago, I had a fill-in caregiver, and she looked at me and said, do you mind if I go and pick up some cleaning supplies from the Dollar Tree? And I said, I've been thinking about going. I need to get out of the house. Give me a list of what you need. And so we made a little list, and I went and got them, and I brought them back. And next thing I know, she was doing light housework like is in the care plan. It's not like I was asking her to do any of it. And she basically told me, I'm going to do this, and you're going to go relax. And I thank my caregivers for that. They take very good care of me, even though they are my son's caregivers and they're here for him. So take the time that people give you. And if you are watching this and you are a family member to someone who is caregiver, how can you help that family? Well, you can give the parent self-care time, whether that means buying them a gift card to a massage place or a spa, buying them a gift card to one of the meal delivery places, cooking a meal and taking it over. Those kind of things are how you support a caregiver. You don't have to come and babysit the child or watch the child. There are so many more ways you can support besides doing the direct care, because caregiving can be a daunting thing if you're not familiar with caregiving for special needs children. It can be scary. I know when I got, when I was, before I had my son and before we had the autism diagnosis, I saw families with children who were on the spectrum and thought, oh my gosh, I could never do that. Well, that's how you curse yourself, right? And then my son came up autistic, with the autism diagnosis. And I was like, oh my gosh, I guess I can do this because I have to. So I know caregiving can be a daunting thing. So it's not just caregiving. Ask the people, how can I support you as a caregiver? What can I do to help your family out besides giving you, care for your son? Is there anything else I can do? Get your car washed, mow your lawn, those little day-to-day things that, some of us have run our bodies into the ground so much that we just don't have the energy. Can I make a run to the dump for you? Whatever. There are so many different ways to support people, caregivers, and people with autism that don't require hands-on direct care. Put it that way. I'm going to wrap up. It's 4:45. Like I said, next week, our topic is your top 10 myths about autism. I'd love to have some input. Send me your emails at pearlmanhattanmusic@gmail.com before next Thursday, and I will try and get them in the show. We'll probably have many more than 10, but it's top 10 week on the live place. So that's why the topic of top 10, but we could probably go on for months about autism myths. But, all right, I look forward to it, Lisa. I was hoping to get some input from you. I thank you for being here today, whether you're in the live stream, you're lurk and listen, you're chat and chill, or you're one of my replay viewers. I appreciate each and every one of you. Is it Julio or Julio? I want to say it right. Welcome in. I'm so glad you're here. Unfortunately, I can't address group homes in the Chicago area because I am not in that area, and it's different everywhere you go. I am based in Tacoma, Washington, in the Pacific Northwest. But what I can tell you is, if you will come back next week, I will do a little research and make myself knowledgeable on the Chicago area and what I can find for you. And maybe I can help find you someone to talk to in that area who knows a lot more about it than I do. I will do my best this week. In fact, I'll write it down on my list right now. Chicago area group homes for I want to say Julio, because I feel like that's the right way to say your name. I've written it down. It's on my list right here. Wrote it down. I will do some research and I will see if I can put you in touch with somebody in that area who can help you. On a personal level, I would think it would be better to live outside of a city environment, possibly the country, because I believe there's more opportunity for fresh air and outside and sunshine. My son loves being outside. A less metropolitan area, because there's less to keep up with. I think country life is much more simpler than city life. I think city life can be overwhelming to even the most neurotypical person. So just on a personal level, my advice would be probably outside in smaller suburbs or even in the country. There's something about fresh air and gardening that can be very healing to people. I thank you for dropping in, and Julio, do come back next week and we will talk about that. Also, like I said, we're going to talk about the top 10 myths about autism, and I want your feedback. I want your input. Thank you all for being here today. It's going to be a good football weekend. We got all the playoffs. If you're a football fan, Pete McDevitt on his channel is going to be live streaming all 4 of the playoff games that are going on. Show up, chill out, and we'll talk about football. And I will see you guys again next Sunday. We're going to have fun. We're going to do some painty paper. So sit down with get your paper or cardboard and your acrylic paints, your watercolors, your markers, your pens, your stencils, whatever you want. We're going to make some painty papers on Sunday at 2 p.m. West Coast. That's 5 p.m. East Coast. Again, check out theliveplace.com for all of your family-friendly live streaming needs. It's the TV guide of YouTube. And peace to you and blessings upon you and all you love and all who love you. Make somebody smile. Make yourself smile. And I will join you all soon. Have a great day. Bye now.